In this very short demo video, I want to compare Typefully, which is a popular social media management platform, with a solution that I created called Crosspublish. Now, I've been using Typefully in the past to grow my social media channels, but one of the biggest frustrations that I had about this tool was the lack of support for major social media networks. So, if you take a look at Typefully, they have a really good design, but one of the main disadvantages is that they only support X, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, Threads, and I think now they also support Substack, which is a really limited amount of social media networks. And that's exactly why I created an alternative called Crosspublish. So if you go to the landing page on crosspublish.com, you can see all the details. And if we take a look at the dashboard, you can see that the feel is very familiar to what you know from Typefully. However, one of the biggest differentiators is that Cross-Publish supports all the major social media networks. So if I go on to my user icon and click on the plus icon, and connect a new social media account, you can see that I support all these individual social media networks. That includes Blue Sky, Mastodon, LinkedIn, X, Threads, Instagram, Facebook pages, YouTube channels, Pinterest, and TikTok. So you can create a much larger social media footprint by posting over Cross-Publish than you could by posting over Typefully. And the additional advantage is that you have a rich thread editor, um, similar to the way that you would in Typefully. So let me demonstrate that one time. When you create a new draft in Cross-Publish, you can go and select your social media networks that you want to publish to. You can, for X posts, also choose communities and so on. You can choose Mastodon, YouTube. Let's go ahead and select a few of these networks. Let's include maybe Instagram, and let's include a reel for Instagram as well. So you can see I'm making a post to all these different social media networks that have a check mark, and I'm going to press create. Now, what I get once I press create is this generalized draft editor that lets me create one draft, which applies to all these different posts. So for example, if I go ahead and write something like, this is an example, you can see that I can then go ahead and preview this in the different editors. So of course, for Instagram, I'm going to require some media file, but if I go ahead and flick through this, for example, on Blue Sky, you can see that it gives me this thread message layout, and the same is true for the other networks. And the interesting thing is that I can go ahead and add another thread message or comment and write something like, this is a second message, and that message also appears over here in the sidebar in the preview, right? So you can rearrange this, you can add new messages, you can add media files, you can upload emojis. So all of these things work just as you would expect them to, and you have this rich thread editing experience. And of course, if you want to make changes to one of these drafts, which does not apply to all of them, I can make per platform changes. So for example, let's go ahead and edit X separately by clicking on edit separately and confirming. And you can see that at the very top in the navigation bar, it creates a new copy. So in addition to the global copy that we have been editing a moment ago, we now have a platform-specific copy for the platform X, where we can, make changes such as choose the community again. We can, see the preview as we did before. But most importantly, we can make changes to this. For example, delete the first message. That will not apply to the global copy. So you can see these messages are still there, whereas they're gone in X. So the key benefit of cross-publish over Typefully is that you have this very broad support for social media networks that you do not have on Typefully. And you also have the advantage of having a rich thread editing experience that you are already used to in Typefully. And in addition to that, you can, of course, also use the calendar view. The calendar view gives you all the social media posts that you've created in a very nice and easy to look at calendar. Over here in the calendar view, you can toggle between the weekly view, the monthly view. You can, of course, also schedule posts over here in the sidebar. You can go ahead and resize it or close it. And you can also just take posts and drop them in, which I'm not going to do because I don't want to schedule this post, but you get the idea. And in addition to that, you also have analytics, which is currently in beta. Analytics let you see how your posts perform over all the channels that you have. So for example, here you can see that I've currently posted on X and Threads, and I can go into the drill down per channel. So if I go onto X, I can see all the individual X posts that I created and how they performed um, in the analytics tab. So that is a brief overview comparing Typefully and Crosspublish. And maybe to round things off, you can also see that when we go to Typefully and we check out their pricing, where's their pricing page over here? You can see that their business plan costs $18 a month. And $18 a month is quite a significant amount for such a limited number of platforms that it supports. Now, Cross-Publish comes at exactly the same price point of $18, but you can connect much more social media platforms. You can connect up to 16. Any combination is possible, so you can connect multiple X accounts, you can connect multiple Threads accounts, so any combination of accounts is possible, and the support for different platforms is much broader, so you can connect YouTube channels, Facebook channels, and so on and so forth. So, yep, that rounds it off, and see you in the next video.